Thank you for bearing with me. So today we move on to the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very important verse, a beautiful verse, and it glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's very important elements to this verse. So Dharma projitaha kaitavatra paramo nirmat saranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapa chayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni krite kimva parai ishvaraha sadyo riddhi avrudyate tra kritibi shushrushubi tatshanat. And the word for word, Dharma, religiosity. Projitaha, completely rejected. Kaitavaha, covered by fruit of intention. Atra, yerin. Paramaha, the highest. Nirmatsaranam, of the 100% pure in heart. Satam, devotees. Vedyam, understandable. Vastavam, factual. Atra, yerin. Vastu, substance. Shivadam, well-being. Tapa, traya, threefold miseries. Mulanam, causing uprooting of. Srimad, beautiful. Bhagavate, the Bhagavad Purana. Mahamuni, the great sage Vyasadeva. Krite, having compiled. Kim, what is. Va, the need. Parai, others. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord. Sadhya, at once. Riddhi, within the heart. Avarudhyate, becomes compact. Atra, yerin. Kritibhi, of the pious men. Shushrushubir, by culture. Tat, shanat, without delay. Translation. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within the heart. So purport, any volunteers who would like to read the
I can read Prabhuji, if that's okay.
Please do.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Religion includes 4 primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally, liberation from material bondage. Irreligious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and meeting are the 4 principles of animal life. These are common both to animal and to human beings. But religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to men's eternal relationship with God.
So we'll read the first 3 paragraphs. Anyone likes to volunteer for the reading the second paragraph?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to laud it or the material nature, or in other words, there is continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities and religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, and or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This, this practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. And the next paragraph, anyone would like to volunteer to read?
I can do it, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. In the Vedas, the above mentioned 4 activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialists because they are on the path back to Godhead where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non-envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotee of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well-wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competitionless society is artificial because in the socialist state, there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas, or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are 3 paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So we shall now discuss aspects of the purport in the verse, but before we do, we'll recite the Mangala Charanam prayers. Om Gyanathimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutan Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripasindu Vivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastuchadi Shatadne Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So it's such an honor and privilege to be in all of your association on this most auspicious day of Nityananda Trayodashi, most glorious appearance day of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Balaram, who is mercy personified. And if we have some time, we'll speak a bit about Lord Nityananda towards the end of today's session. But today, let's just discuss this very important verse. Very important verse. And in the second verse, Srimad Bhagavatam is being glorified. And how is it being glorified? It's being glorified in the context of what is real religion. And the first line of this verse is Dharma Prodhita Koitavatra. And it means completely rejecting materially motivated religion. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are four aspects to materially motivated religion. Can anyone recall what are the four aspects to material motivated religion? What makes up materially motivated religion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Is it Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha?
Yes. What does dharma mean?
Religious activities.
Yes. Artha,
Artha is economical.
development. Yes.
Is
Kama
development. Kama is sense gratification.
and moksha.
Is liberation.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So
you.
generally, people take religion to mean these four aspects. Dharma, religiosity, meaning performing religion with some motive in mind. Second one is economic development. One wants to progress materially in connection with the body. So one performs religion, one becomes religious. And Prabhupada says in the purport, but if we see that this religion is not giving us what we desire, then we become neglectful or we reject such religion. The third aspect is karma, sense gratification. People perform religion to enhance their sense gratification. They will do some religious activity to get a beautiful wife. Or it can be so much. We all know, we see it all around us. Some of us may even have experienced it in our own lives before we came to Krishna consciousness. And lastly, moksha. People perform religion because they want liberation from material entanglement. So at the very beginning, Srimad Bhagavatam rejects all such materially motivated religion or cheating religion. It rejects such cheating religion. Now, what does it mean to cheat? When someone cheats us, or when we are cheated, what does it mean to be cheated? Anyone likes to say?
Hare Krishna Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine.
What I understand cheated is that means what you're really aiming for. I mean, in our Krishna consciousness and love of Godhead, That means you are deprived of getting what you are aiming for. This is what my understanding. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Palika Mataji. It's a very nice explanation. Basically, cheating means to promise one thing and to give something else. Generally, when we are cheated, we get promised something, but we get given something else. So any religion which promises a living entity peace, happiness, a connection, deep, loving connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it gives us something else. That is called, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, cheating religion. And a lot of the Vedic literatures, or a lot of the religions of the world today, we see it would fall in the category of cheating religion. And how do we know so? By the result itself. Those who are practicing such religion, they have not become free from the vices. They have not become free for the desire for sense gratification. And they have not developed unconditional, pure love for Krishna, which gives them complete satisfaction, complete peace, and the highest stage of realization. So therefore, Bhagavatam says at the very beginning, this book, Srimad Bhagavatam, will not give you that. So at the outset, Srimad Bhagavatam said, this book, Bhagavatam, is not going to talk about Artha, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha. You won't find it in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is only going to speak about pure devotional service, pure, unmotivated, uninterrupted love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, dear readers, if this is what you are looking for, then maybe you've come to the wrong place. You've come to the wrong place in Srimad Bhagavatam because you won't find it here. Because this Bhagavatam does not have anything to do with cheating religion. So in this Kali Yuga, people want everything very quick and cheap. You do something very quick and cheap, you get it. Just like sometimes, we may go to a store like, take for example, Asda. Asda never claims to be high-end, top quality, the highest quality of products. What you will get there is good products, are affordable, but not of the topmost quality. So those who are looking for that type of offering, they will go to such a supermarket. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle Asda in any way. I'm just trying to make a particular point. So in the same way, someone who wants the highest quality, they are willing to pay for it. They will go to the high-end store to get a particular high-quality product. So in the same way, Srimad Bhagavatam is also addressing the readers. If you want the highest and you're prepared to give, not want something cheap, you're prepared to invest, then you can come to the Srimad Bhagavatam. But if you want something really cheap, quick, watered down, then Bhagavatam is not for you. So very outset in the very first statement, Dharma projitaha koitavatra, this cheating religion is rejected. And then, paramo, it propounds the highest truth. The highest truth. And thus highest truth, it is understood only by people of a certain nature. Nirmat saranam satam vedyam. It is only understandable by devotees who are pure in heart and are non-envious. So that maybe requires a little further explanation. Does that mean that we are not pure in heart, so we cannot go into the Bhagavatam? No. What it is saying here, the main quality, the Bhagavatam is saying, nirmatsar saranam satam, is that one has to be non-envious. The nature, our nature, having been for a very long time in this material world, is in one sense, we are envious of Krishna. We've been having the sense of hostility towards Krishna. That why should Krishna be recognized as the supreme controller? Why should Krishna be recognized as the supreme enjoyer? That is a position that should be allocated to me. So this is the first quality that this verse is talking about, this nirmat saranam, that one should be non-envious. Non-envious, that means we approach this Bhagavatam with an open mind, accepting that, just as we've read in the first verse, if one does not accept what is we just studied in the first verse, then the second verse, this verse reminds us. And then Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. This is very important, very, very important. So this next verse is saying, so what is this? What is this Bhagavatam propounding? It is propounding the highest knowledge. And what is that highest knowledge? This is very, very beautifully explained by Srila Prabhupada. You get two types of writing. You get poetry and you get prose. Poetry is of a certain nature, and prose is just like when one writes, like one is talking. But this line that Srila Prabhupada writes, this is bordering on poetry. He says, eloquence, one's definition of eloquence is truth spoken concisely. And this next statement by Srila Prabhupada defining what is true knowledge, this is real eloquence. Prabhupada says, the highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such a beautiful translation Srila Prabhupada gives here. The highest truth is reality, which is distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Now, there's some very important elements of the statement. In Vedic science, reality means that which is permanent. An illusion means that which is temporary. Everything that is temporary is an illusion. It's an illusion in the sense that it has no permanent existence. Like we hear that this body is an illusion. This material experience we are having is an illusion. Some people may say, how can you say that? You know, I'm experiencing. So this cannot be an illusion, it's reality. Vedic science says yes. It is illusion that it is temporary. Like, just take for example my existence. Vrindavan Chandra does. Living in a certain place with a certain family, conducting a certain activity. 500 years from now, no one will even remember my name. No one will remember my existence. It's almost sure. Maybe one generation, 100 years, there may be some remembrance. But 500 years from now, practically everything about my existence on this particular earth will be completely forgotten. It will be completely forgotten. So from that sense, it is an illusion because it's got no temporary nature. And even at the time of dissolution, everything is finished. So highest truth is that truth which only deals with the ultimate reality, that which is permanent. And this is what Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. Srimad Bhagavatam only deals with the permanent reality, our permanent reality, and the permanent reality of existence. And very importantly, it says here, for the welfare of all. Only such reality is for the welfare of all. Anything that connects us with the temporary, it's really not in our best benefit. But anything that connects us with the permanent, this brings the highest welfare for everyone. So this is what Srimad Bhagavatam is all about. Anyone who connects with Srimad Bhagavatam, they will experience the highest self-welfare. In that the Bhagavatam will connect this soul, the living entity, with its ultimate nature. Ultimate nature. That's Shivadam, for the welfare of all. So this Bhagavatam, the first 3 verses we're talking about is what Prabhupada is explaining in the Prabhupada. This Bhagavatam does not deal, because the Vedas has different categories. Karma Kanda, ritualistic activities. And then you get Jnana Kanda, and then you get Upasana Kanda, the highest. So Srila Vyasadeva is saying he's not going to talk about any of that. Only that which benefits, that takes us to the ultimate spot. And then it says, the Prabhupada is saying that this knowledge is ultimately for the devotees of the Lord, who are non-envious, who are thinking of everyone's welfare. So this is the mood in which we should enter the Srimad Bhagavatam, thinking of everyone's welfare. So the other facilitators this week will speak about other aspects of the verse. I think for today, I shall stop here. We'll take any questions and comments, and then maybe we'll speak something about the glories of Lord Nityananda. So are there any questions or comments by everyone? Did everyone have a good festival today?
Wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I have a question, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. I mean, the Vedas, which has been described as Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Vedas were given by Krishna to Brahma to Narad Muni, and to Vasudev. Then if the purpose of the Vedas was Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, it hasn't emanate itself. It was given by Krishna. And so that is, it has been explained here, this is cheating religion. Then how was it given? I don't know whether my question is right, but this is what's coming in my heart to ask the question.
Yes, it's a very good question, Palika Mataji, and I hope I've understood you correctly. It's a very good question. So the Vedas was originally imparted by Lord Krishna into the heart of Lord Brahma, as we've heard in the first verse. And then that Vedas was originally one, and it was in one sense short. It got expanded with time, the Vedic literature. One Veda got broken up into 4 Vedas and so on. The point is that the Vedas do ultimately take us to the topmost goal. Like if you read the philosophical part of the Vedas is the Upanishad. And we've studied Sri Ishopanishad.
Yeah.
And we know from the study of Sri Ishopanishad that this is taking us to the ultimate goal.
Yes.
The difficulty, Palika Mataji, is that the Vedas, its original aim was to gradually elevate the living entities. Like, for example, a materialistic person would start off by reading the Vedas and then realizing that he has to worship certain demigods for certain materialistic gain. So they will start off by worshipping the demigods. But by reading the Vedas, they'll understand that these are only demigods, right? There must be someone superior. The Prabhupada told us the very simple story of this one simple man who wanted to worship the highest person. And he was a simple farm laborer. And he went to the landlorder, the zamindar, and he said, you know, for me, you are the topmost person. Can I worship you? Can I serve you? So he wanted to serve the topmost person. And the zamindar said, yes, you can serve me. And he very faithfully and loyally served this person. But then he noticed that regularly some men would come with horses, and then the zamindar would pay taxes to them. So, and he saw that he was very submissive to these people who came. And then he asked the zamindar, who are these people? He said, no, they are the kings. tax collectors. I have to pay tax to the king. So he said, you mean the king is higher than you? Yes. Oh, I want to serve the highest person. I'd like to go serve the king.
Mhm.
And in this way, he went and he served the king.
Mhm.
And then while serving the king, he would notice that every day the king would go for a certain point into the day. He'd go into the forest. And there he would meet a sage. He would offer obeisances to the sage. So he followed the king one day and he said to the king, he saw the king what he was doing, and he said to the king, I want to worship the highest person, but I see you bowing down to this person. That means you're not the highest. He said, no. This person is a sadhu, a sage. He's higher than me. I worship him. Oh, okay. I want to worship the sadhu.
Mhm.
Then he went to worship the sadhu. And then he saw the sadhu was worshiping the Lord.
Mhm.
Then he said, but you are a sadhu. The king was worshiping you, but I see you bowing down to somebody. And he said, yes. The topmost person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Where can I find him? You'll find him in the temple. And then he went to the temple, but the temple was locked. So he decided
It
to
was?
sleep. Locked.
Temple? Okay.
The doors were locked. So he decided to sleep outside.
Mm.
And then when he was sleeping outside, it was very cold. So the Lord took his own chadar and placed it over this sincere person. And the next morning, the Brahmins, they came and they saw he had the Lord's chadar and they thought he stole it and they wanted to beat him up.
Mm.
And they beat him up. But the Lord came in their dreams and said, no, this is a sincere servant of mine who wants to serve me. He didn't steal my chadar. I took it and placed it on him. You please bring him here and you take care of him. So the import of the story, Palika Mataji, is that if one was sincere, according to the Vedas, they would ultimately come to the point of Krishna and they would serve Krishna.
Mm.
But most of the people, they are not sincere.
Mm.
So they get stuck in a certain place, in a certain prescription of the Vedas. But the Vedas are ultimately, if one reads and studies them, are meant to take one to Krishna. But there's people who get stuck there.
Mm.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, very nice. Very nice. Thank you very much for such a wonderful explanation. Thank you, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Any other
I think
questions?
it's a gradual process, isn't it? Because we all come to the material world not knowing what to do, what not to do, because we got this material body, and there's nobody highest like that, Krishna. We haven't even understood. So people will go step by step, and then Krishna. I think that's why Krishna makes that arrangement. When you are serious, then
Yes.
he makes all the arrangement for you to go to near him. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. But we know in the Bhagavatam that Narad Muni chastised, in one sense, Vedavyas. He said, all your step-by-step literature doesn't work. Now you just speak the ultimate truth, and those who are sincere, they will take to it. And this is what Bhagavatam is about.
Yes, thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada has made us understand this.
Yes, he's made Bhagavatam accessible to everyone.
Yes, for everybody. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So there's no questions or comments. So dear devotees, I'm not sure as how you've observed today's Nityananda Trayodashi. Is there anyone in today's forum who is not so familiar with who Lord Nityananda is? About Lord Nityananda's life and teachings? And is there anyone who feels that they haven't developed a connection with Lord Nityananda yet? Yesterday we were reading this beautiful song by Narottam Das Thakur, Nitai Pada Kamalam, where in the song Narottam Das Thakur says, any person who has not yet developed his connection with Lord Nityananda, such a person has simply wasted their lives. So why is it so important for us to develop our connection with Lord Nityananda? It's important because in this age, every one of us in this Kali Yuga is very fallen. We do not know what real religion is. We do not know the religious principles. Neither can we follow religious principles. We are short-lived, we are lazy, and we are always misguided. So our position in this material world is very, very precarious. And it's difficult for us to make spiritual life, to take to spiritual life. On our own, it's very difficult. So in this situation, the only way we can advance is by special mercy. So of all the personalities, all the incarnations, all the expansions of the Lord, Lord Nityananda, his mercy is unlimited. He is prepared to accept anyone. The only condition he places is that we must be willing to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Lord Nityananda has appeared in this world, and we very much need him. There's one story which I've told before, that Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Bombay, one of his disciples had left the company of Prabhupada and his disciples and was living on the beach with some so-called sadhus, and he was smoking ganja. So news came to Srila Prabhupada that this disciple of his has deviated, is sleeping on the beach, and he's smoking ganja. So the disciples came and gave Prabhupada this news. So Prabhupada said, you go and tell him that if he doesn't stop smoking ganja, I reject him. So the devotees went and they approached him and they said, this is the message from Srila Prabhupada. So when Tamal Krishna Goswami came back after meeting this devotee and telling him that, he said, Srila Prabhupada, I gave this message, but if he doesn't stop smoking ganja, you'll reject him. But I have one question for you, Srila Prabhupada. Will you reject him? And Prabhupada said, no. I can't reject anybody. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, there has to be some limit. There has to be some limit beyond which if someone crosses the line, you will reject them and you can't give them another chance. And Prabhupada was silent for a while. And then he said, there is no limit to the mercy of Lord Nityananda. There is no limit to the mercy of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda, he appeared more than 500 years ago in a village called Ekachakra. We can visit that place. ISKCON has now built a very nice temple there with guest house facilities. I have never been there. It's on my bucket list to go to Ekachakra. And that place, Ekachakra, is a holy dham. It's a very, very auspicious place. And many of the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, we can see there, and we can experience those pastimes. And the appearance of Lord Nityananda and his activities can be read in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And we should make it our effort to read about Lord Nityananda. My personal story is, from the beginning, I heard of Lord Nityananda. I heard about his mercy. But somehow or the other, I never felt, that a real connection with Lord Nityananda. But, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, a few times I was asked in different temples to speak on Nityananda Trayodasi. And to be able to speak, I just decided to immerse myself in reading about Lord Nityananda. And simply by reading and hearing about Lord Nityananda and speaking about Lord Nityananda, I was simply amazed by his personality, his activities, his teachings. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But how willing and how much he was prepared to extend himself for the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Once one disciple asked Srila Prabhupada, how will I get the mercy of Lord Krishna? And Prabhupada says, you'll only get the mercy of Lord Krishna through the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And then the devotee says, how do I get the mercy of Srimati Radharani? And Prabhupada says, you can only get the mercy of Srimati Radharani through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then the devotee asks, but how do I get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He said, you'll only get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. How do I get the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu? And Prabhupada says, by approaching people like Jagai and Madai. Lord Nityananda is very eager. He wants to save all of the souls in Kali Yuga. He wants to bring them to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anyone who assists Lord Nityananda in his mission, who makes some attempt to carry out Lord Nityananda's mission of inviting people to chant Hare Krishna and to take to Krishna consciousness. Lord Nityananda, he would knock on everyone's door. He would fall down like a stick, full dandavats. He would put a straw in his teeth and with folded hands he would beg them. He said, please, I beg you to chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And if someone was willing to accept this request of Lord Nityananda, they would receive his full protection and they would achieve Krishna Prem very, very quickly. So this is what Srila Prabhupada taught us, that Lord Nityananda's mercy is essential to our spiritual life. And Prabhupada taught us that we can get the mercy of Lord Nityananda by engaging fully and wholeheartedly in the Sankirtan movement, which Srila Prabhupada has given us. So I'll stop here. We moved on in time. Any questions or any comments or any realizations? Anyone likes to share how they developed their own connection with Lord Nityananda?
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Please accept my obeisances.
Please accept mine.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Sundari here, Prabhuji.
Yes, I recognize your voice. Nice
It is
to see you.
such a nice class today and yesterday and other days. I'm really happy to join this group and really enjoying it. Prabhuji, I was reading Lord Nityananda Prabhu's like life sketch today.
Yes.
And when Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished his duties here, so they said he entered into a deity of Krishna. Just wanted you to elaborate a little bit on that.
Bankim Rai is the name of the deity.
Banke?
Bankim Rai.
Banke Rai. Okay.
Bankim, B-A-N-K-I-M, Bankim Rai.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that place is there as well in India.
Yes. You can see the deity of Bankim Rai. Just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he disappeared into the deity of Toto Gopinath.
Yes.
In Jagannath Puri. Lord Nityananda also disappeared in this way.
Yeah, amazing. And another thing is when Lord Nityananda was only is a 13-year-old, and then the sannyasi came to the father's house, and he asked the parents, so he wants Nityananda Prabhu to assist him in his mission. So they gave him their son to him.
Yes.
So he traveled without his parents. He traveled like after 13 years of age.
Yes. It was heartbreaking if you read about this in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Heartbreaking affair. Lord Nityananda Unitai was the life and soul of the entire village of Ekachak. He was the life soul of Adai Pandit and Padmavati. And when he left, when the sadhu took Nitai, that whole village became like a ghost town.
Wow.
They were torn into separation. But that separation is also of a transcendental nature. It also is a separation that is joyful. That's a whole new topic, but
because he engaged the whole village in all the pastimes of Krishna Leela and Lord Ram's Leela, all his childhood.
Yes. On Saturday, I was watching a beautiful program from Mayapur TV, where all of these different areas like Govardhan Hill, the different lakes, all the pastimes, Kalia Lake, those places are still there in that area of Ekachakra. You can go and visit all of those places where he performed the Leelas of Krishna.
Wow. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else has got any comments or reflections?
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, this is Palika
Hare
here.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I was also listening to the same program as you are doing with the Kachakra. It's really, I really now wish to go and visit those places. It's so nice. All the, all the Prabhus and who else? Maharaj. I forgot the name. I'm
Bhakti
sorry.
Purushottam Swami.
Yes, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. He was also explaining. It was so nice, and all the devotees who were glorifying Nityananda Prabhu. It was so nice. It was really purifying for me. Yesterday evening, I was listening. Every devotee who spoke about Nityananda Prabhu, it was kind of preparing my heart to actually to celebrate today. It was really, really nice. And then when I went to the temple today, and it was I was really looking at the feet of Nityananda Prabhu. Please bestow your mercy on me, his fallen soul. It was really, I really felt very different than any other years just by hearing about Nityananda Prabhu and the Ekachakra. It was really very, very elevating.
Yes.
It was a wonderful day today.
Thank you for sharing that, Palika Mataji. Similar experience to mine. Simply by hearing about Lord Nityananda, you feel that deep connection with him.
Yes, I felt that today. It was really nice.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else likes to share their realizations of Lord Nityananda Prabhu or their experiences today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
So Prabhuji, my favorite pastime of Nityananda Prabhu is when he engages Raghunath Das Goswami in serving Vaishnavas, and how much that was like an atonement. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful way, engaging people and motivating people to serve Vaishnavas was just, it really touched my heart. And I thought, that is it. This is how one needs to connect to Nityananda Prabhu, is through serving Vaishnavas. That kind of connects you to him, because that's what he was promoting for Raghunath Das Goswami. So that was a big, really very important message that came to me. And I pray to Lord Nityananda that he gives me the strength and showers mercy that I can serve Vaishnavas more and more this year and long time to come. Thank you,
Beautiful.
Prabhuji.
I think you're already living that, but Lord Nityananda will empower you even more to fulfill that desire, I'm sure. Hare Krishna, wonderful. Anyone else likes to share anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So sitting in Preston, obviously I couldn't be looking forward to going to a feast at the temple. So what I decided was to glorify Nityananda Prabhu and to get his mercy. I made a feast at home, and I made a lot of pakoras, I made gulab jamuns, and I made a cake, coconut cake, and I distributed it to some friends, and then I'm going to take some more when I visit my daughter tomorrow to some families. And one of our friends, his mother is bedridden, so take her because she loves gulab jamuns. So I thought, I hope Lord Nityananda would be pleased that I did all this in my with him, and so that he could be happy.
Right, wonderful. Without doubt, Lord Nityananda will be happy, because you are giving people Krishna consciousness by giving them prasadam.
And telling them, a bit about Lord Nityananda as I distribute the food, or why I'm doing this.
Okay, wonderful. So dear devotees, we've gone over now. Thank you very much for your association. I do hope you can still have whatever remains of the day, a blissful evening, thinking about glorifying and remembering Lord Nityananda, praying fervently for his mercy. Thank you very much for your association. All glories to your service, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Panchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyeva, Patitanam Pavanam, Vaishnava, Anantapuri Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Prabhupada ki jai, Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Go Premanande,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.